Hi folks, welcome to another episode of Pints and Brown Envelopes. This week we've got big Mark Kelly on. Marco, how are we doing?
How's it going, Butler? You well?
Yes, all good, mate. Terms of things before we start, so work and things like that, flat out teaching then?
Well, I wouldn't say flat out now, but I working as a teacher, but obviously with the whole coronavirus thing at the minute, we're working from home, so it's just a case of putting our lessons on each morning and then sort of having your emails and things like that open, just to reply and, you know, sort of feedback to parents or feedback to children. But no, it's not. I wouldn't say it's flat out now, but it's busy. It's all right.
Feed up. How many cups of tea are you getting in a day?
I'll probably stick to me by lunchtime,
Class. And in terms of football, you're currently at Newry then? Are you back training or anything yet? Or
no. Well, yeah, currently at Newry, but with regards to training, Darren has just been onto the group there recently, and he's saying, you know, that we're going to wait to there's a decision with the Premiership, and then whenever we're given a start date of when it'll be, I think he's then going to call training for 5 or 6 weeks pre-season, sort of 5 or 6 weeks before the start date. But no, I haven't heard much more than that.
Happy days. Well, it's not too bad then. At least you're getting a bit of chill out time rather than 5Ks and 10Ks. Or I suppose you're probably flat out with the Gaelic anyway, are you?
We're starting back. We've been doing bits there this last week or two with groups of 6, and we're starting back now on Thursday, I think. So we'll be getting back into it again.
Beast it around the roads, huh?
Brutal.
Nightmare. Well, Marco, we'll just get into it. So, in terms for the day, so first memories of playing football, where did it all start?
Well, I suppose it started probably in the back garden with my dad and my 2 brothers, and then from there, well, actually every Sunday my dad used to take Kieran and a group of sort of few lads around the estate over to the playing pitches over at the Antrim Grammar and Park Hall there, and I just went along. Jack went along and just messed about, but I went along and just played with them. I think there was about 8 or 10 of us, and he would just set up 2 goals and we'd have wee games, and then from there, Kieran and that sort of group of those sort of friends, they joined Antrim Youth, and there was no team my age, so I went along and played and trained with that team and got the odd game here and there, and there was both of ourselves playing in the school team, playing with Antrim Youth, playing with the school team, and then going on and joining up with Antrim Youth Folded. There was no team my age. Antrim Youth Folded, and then joining Chimney Corner. I suppose they were probably the youth days up until probably 9 or 10.
So in terms of Antrim Youth Chimney Corner, we always played up down in Connor League. Bit of a shock to the system playing in that, getting called everything, or are you all right with it?
I suppose I had to learn fast. Like playing. Well, I didn't really play all that often when it was my older brother's team. So they're him and Jackie Todd, and although Kieran and Jackie Todd, those lads would be a couple of years above me. Ryan Esler, Cian Clark would be a year above me. Ryan Carson, they all played in that team. So I went along and spent quite a lot of the time on the bench and just got sort of 10 minutes here and there. And it was good to be able to stand on the side of the pitch close to it and still be a part of it, but be able to see what it was like, and you could kind of watch where you would be going on and things like that. But it was definitely a rude awakening, like that down in Connor League. You're coming up with some of those mad lunatics in Belfast.
You just mental. You just remember big brawls everywhere, just around that Chippy fan. The hate teams running from everywhere. Oh, crazy! But I loved it, to be honest.
I was great,
and I think it sets you up well for later days. Like
definitely, yeah, it was good experience playing there.
Yeah. In terms of then basically as well, so you went Antrim Youth Chimney Corner for a bit, and then at the same time we were doing a bit extras with Maiden City.
Yeah, well, I remember I think we were P6, maybe no, we were P6, P7, but I remember you on at me, and remember chatting to your mum and chatting to Dom after school about going down, and I didn't really have that much. You probably remember I didn't have that much of an interest in going, and we went down in the Forum, wasn't it? Down in the indoor.
Yeah. Indoor pitch, the Forum.
Like that was another level again. That was like Paul Cunningham was taking it, and you had Decky Devine down the odd Friday afternoon, and you Keezy as well, Paul Key, and you know yourself, those lads were, even at that age, they were so intense, and their sessions were 100 mile an hour, and really focusing on the technical aspects, and it was a lot of one child and a football. You know, that was brilliant. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I loved it. But the Maiden City, but like looking back, you're saying them names, you Bugsy, Paul Key, 𝗥𝗟𝗡 𝗥𝗏, top class coaches. We didn't realise probably at the time how good they were until you look on it now, and that like.
You look at 𝗥𝗥𝗡's over Derry City there now at the minute. Bugsy and Keezy. I mean, they had a spell where they were Carlisle. They were over Carlisle United.
Ronnie Collins.
Yeah, took Carlisle. They took Omatown for a while, but they've had some experience and they've had some they've coached some amount of quality players. So at that age it was at any age, but at that age in particular, with your development, it was incredible.
Yeah, and then they were the ones who introduced us then basically to wider level of football, brought us down to Dublin, things like that there for trips.
Yeah.
What was your experience yet like?
Well, I remember both of us getting, being asked to come along and sort of join up with their academy up in Derry, and going down to that youth international tournament, wasn't it? And you were playing against teams like Cherry Orchard and Shamrock Rovers, and all cracking teams from the south. But it was I think that was probably my first. We were away in Dundee, but that was one of the first tournaments away, and it was, even at that age, it was very professional. We were going, and they were making sure you were eating all the right foods, and you were going to your bed at the right time. And I remember going for like pre-match walks and things like that at the age of 10 and 11, and they're talking. But it was an unbelievable experience, and having our parents be able to come down and watch it and all that, it was phenomenal.
That's good. I remember the Dublin tournament. I think our team talked before. It was like, right, we'll get by this team. We're going to win this. We're this, that. We played Shelburne first game. We get hit about 15, mate. They battered us.
That's right. You were 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the team older, and I didn't start. We got fucking roasted, and I was like, happy days. I'm not playing. The guy who played up front from him was like 6 foot less wide and just throwing people about. I was like, God, this is great standing on the bench. There was some real quality at that tournament. And you're asking there about like the Down and Connor League. I think that there was a real awakening for the both of us, just in terms of the standards and all these other players from all over the country that are at such a high level. Yeah, something that we had never really seen. But you stayed on then with Maiden City basically and kept in their youth team as such, rather than stay local as like I did. I was Ballymena and that, but you stayed Maiden City Institute direction, didn't you?
Yeah, I stayed. Yeah, I think we came to kind of an agreement where I would just go up on a Wednesday or go up one night a week up to the academy. And initially it was in Drumahoe, sort of in the summer months, and then whenever you had the darker evenings and that, we were over in McGee University over the water. But it was brilliant. I think I was there to 16. Yeah, I was there about 5 or 6 years. And it was deadly. Some really, really good. Actually, they were all fantastic coaches, but some really, really good people you met there. And then I've met some friends there who I'm still really, really close with now. And then obviously the quality of players that came out of that academy. Some of the players were phenomenal and went on to achieve really big things in their career.
Yeah, so there's 2 in your team, particularly Shane Ferguson, Ewan O'Kane.
Yeah,
is that right?
There were others. They were the 2 that made it across the water, but there was a big fella originally from the Isle of Man who was living was over in Donegal. He was a quality player, and Seamus Sharkey, and then there's a fella David Shovlin from Donegal, quality. Aaron Arkinson from Castlebar. They were all phenomenal players, but I think Ewan and Fergie they were just that step above. They used to go and win games on their own on a weekly basis.
Could you tell right away how good they were, or just because you had such a good side, where did they still stand out? Or
I think there were a lot of good players in the squad, real quality players, but those two were just, they were phenomenal, really, really phenomenal, and technically both really good.
Yeah. And then you were loving it when Shane Ferguson went to Newcastle. Like, that was your
brilliant.
Free tickets to him.
I was over a few times with him now. It was class. I was over one Wednesday evening. I was in uni, so I got an afternoon flight over, and Shane had said, "I've left a couple of tickets for you and one of your mates." He was a United man, so we went over. Newcastle were playing United on the Wednesday evening, and landed over. And he said the tickets are in reception. Just go up and ask them. So I went up and to the normal ticket office, and the fella said, "There's no tickets here, for Mark Kelly." And I thought, "Oh, mate, this is awful. Like, I'm going to be watching it in a pub. I could have been at home." And went up to the main reception, where kind of like the board level is and where they're going in. So went in there, brass necked it, and just said, "I think there's a couple of tickets left for me from Shane Ferguson." Sure enough, there was. Up into this, I thought it was going to be just two regular seats where in any of the stands. What given the tickets, up into the elevator, up into the lift. That's me. Elevator. I'm freaking out with Danielle by elevator. We talking about the crashing all next night. Went up in the lift, and this fella looked at the tickets and says, "If you just follow all the way around, follow the corridor all the way around." We were up in this box with all the players' families and injured and suspended players. So I landed in, and Hatton Ben Arfa standing right beside me.
Unreal.
Couldn't believe it. So we got to watch that game, and then after the game, we were down in the players' lounge and met, well, not that they're any great shakes, but like 𝗠𝗔𝗥𝗞 𝗞𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗬 and all those players that I love. So it was quality. No, and Shane it was class. Me being in Newcastle, yourself following Newcastle, and then one of your mates goes and signs for them. Like, it's just surreal, isn't it?
Class, yeah, it's class. So you're saying 𝗠𝗔𝗥𝗞, man, I've seen him in Belfast on the night out when he's doing his coaching badge. I must have ran after him for about a mile and a half. Can I get a photo? Everyone's like, "Who is it?" I was like, "Shut the fuck up."
No one else knows who it is. Like, all the United and Liverpool fans are like, "Who's that boy?"
I thought that was him. I was like, "That's him." I'm getting over there. But go back on to yourself then, mate. So you in the city, then you did get a call up to the schoolboys international ways.
Yeah, 2007. It was 2007. I got a letter. Kenny Shields over the team at the time, so I got I think I played 3 games, 2 against Scotland and 1 against the Republic, and it was brilliant. Really good experience. Played against I can't remember his name now. I think he was in the United youth team at the time. I remember he was sort of earmarked before, and he was one we were watching in the Scotland team, and he was a brilliant player. But in that schoolboy team, there were quality players like Corey Evans and Connor Devlin, Chris Ramsey. There was a lot of. I'm trying to think who else. I'm probably missing ones out there. Decky Bunting, who was at Celtic at the time. But it was mad. All these boys were walking into the changing room, with their United tracks. Corey Evans was at United at the time, and he was quality. Brian and we came in as West Ham, and I felt like Gags from Strabane came in Cardiff, and I rock in the wee Maiden City tracksuit. Comparison, but it was a brilliant experience. And then the European tournament was a December time, I think. The European Championships were March, and I got a letter then for. I read the letter, and it gave you the itinerary at the top, and thought, "Happy days, I'm going to Portugal here." But at the very bottom it says, I still have it there, but it says, "Congratulations, you have been selected on the standby." I know. So it was about that time then that I kind of threw the head up and didn't play then for, I think it was 3 or 4 years then. I didn't play for a club team. I played in the school and played a wee bit at uni, but I didn't really give it probably as much attention as what I should have,
See, at that stage, then, were you breaking into like reserves or 18s or 20s, first team institute at the same time? Were you?
I was at so let me see. I was at 17. I was still with Maiden City, I think, that year.
Yeah.
I was still with Maiden City that year, isn't that right? Or had I just left? I was in the Institute Reserve team when Liam Beckett was there, so I was so I was 17. Liam Beckett was the first team manager. Played a few months in the reserves. Like, who would have been? Philly Lowry would have been the same age as me, and he was starting in the Institute first team.
Yeah.
James McLean would have been in that reserve team at the time.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I was there for maybe 6 months or half a season anyway, and then once I got the letter, I sort of sacked it off.
Yeah. So you had I remember just talking to me and things like that stage. You were big into the Gaelic, things like that, and then you concentrated a good bit on the studies and things. You moved across stateside then.
Yeah. So I went. I was in Jordanstown and I was playing just for the Jordanstown team with Shane McCulloch was the manager, and he was on to me. So it would have been at the end of my second year, I was to do a year's placement. So he was on to me about taking the year's placement in America, out in Colorado. Yeah. One of his mates, Tony McCall, who would have played at Ballymena and Cliftonville and that. He was the
Joe's brother.
Yeah, he was the head coach out there. So I was only maybe 20 at the time. So I sort of said to him I wasn't all that interested. I was still playing the Gaelic and I didn't want to leave home for a year. And I was sort of had my heart set and staying at home, and then I did my year's placement. I did my final year, and then at the end of that, Shane said to me again. He said, "Look, I've been speaking to Tony, and he was asking if you'd be interested in going out for a year scholarship and do a season, but you'll also get a master's certificate out of it." So whenever he said that, and I thought, I could maybe get another qualification, and it would help me then get into the teaching. I may as well give it a crack. So went out there for a year. It ended up being 2 years. Played 2 seasons, a year and a half, and it was phenomenal. Really, really good. Really good experience. It was difficult at the start, being away from home, and I'm a big home bird and close to my mom, my brothers and that. But here, what an experience! Like as close as I've ever experienced as a professional setup.
Yeah. Terms for standard ways, one of the guys that I think it was Joe Rafferty that had asked on the questions, what was the standard in America compared to over here? Like,
it was, I actually, when I was going out, I thought, happy days going out to America here and go. It's only not only natural, but I kind of had the impression in my head like I'm going to go out here and rake it and maybe that's what you think. And it was the furthest thing from it. Went out.
All right.
The altitude the heat was brutal, and the Denver is at a mile high altitude. So first, I never forget it. I went out. I was exhausted, like I was beat, and I thought I was going out. But the altitude was horrendous. The standard was fantastic. They train every day. You get a Monday off. You're training every morning. If you're injured, you're in the treatment room for 6:15, and if you're training, you have to be on the training pitch for 7, and you train from 7 to 9. So it's tough, and then you're going on and doing your
class,
doing your studies and things like that. But with regards to standards, there were some serious players. A lot of English, and there's a lot more Irish people going out there to play. Marty, there's a couple of lads from home here. Marty Maben from Larne there. He's still out there, but he got a professional contract after playing college.
All right.
There was a big Icelandic fella played in my team the second year, and at the end of his college career, he was offered. He went out and did pre-season with the Colorado Rapids in the MLS.
Yeah.
And he was a fantastic player, So there were a lot of good players. There was one lad from Wisconsin who played the team captain, a big fella, Taylor Dame, and he was over with Bradford City,
right
after he graduated, and then through Tony McCall and Joe McCall, he went and trained under Spike at Ballymena for a bit, and by all accounts, they were really interested in him, and they rated him very highly. But I think they had to pay for a visa, or they had to pay a certain fee to get him every year to be earning money here. So that didn't work out for him. But with regards to the standard, it was really, really high. I would say it wasn't far, probably somewhere between the Championship and Premiership, if I'm honest.
Right. Okay. Am I right in saying as well? I think it was on Facebook. I remember a big goal for them. You won Championship or something, did you?
All right. I was going to pretend I didn't remember it there, but I remember. What was that? No. We were playing. So my first year we went out there. We went. The league season we went undefeated in that. Then we lost like a cup game, but because the record was so good, we qualified for the national championship. So we went to the last 16 of that, and we were beat 1-0. And then the next year my second year, we won the league, and then we got to the Sweet 16, last 16 game, and I went to extra time golden goal, and I scored the winner in golden goal, and it was class. Like everyone went mad. So it was brilliant, class experience.
Whoever was the video, just everyone was like piling onto the pitch. I think that was cool. Like big Margot, love that.
It was absolutely brilliant. And then 2 days later in the quarterfinal, we were tanked 5-0. I think it was by Simon Fraser. But those 2 days, like winning it, and then the day after, and the whole atmosphere about the campus was incredible. Like,
yeah, is it just like the films? Like everyone was recognised you as a superstar?
No, definitely not that. Like I wish it was, but it's like the films in a way that, the sports games are kind of big events in the weekly calendar of the university. So a lot of people go to the basketball games on a Friday night, and they'll go to the football games, or the soccer as they call it, the soccer games on the Friday afternoon, and then sort of probably you play Friday, Sunday, and then you're off Monday. So Sunday night there would be like a big kind of a college athlete party sort of thing, where everyone would go and have a bit of a get together.
A couple of tins of Coke.
Exactly.
And then so you then finished stateside, mate. You got yourself back and got your move then in the Premiership at Ballymena.
Aye. I came back just before the Christmas, and Tony McCall had said to me, "Would you be interested? Like you should keep playing, and would you be interested in if I spoke to Joe?" And Joe was to talk to Glenn Ferguson. Would you be interested in going in and just training and see what comes of it? So I went in Christmas Eve, I think it was Christmas Eve morning. Went in Ballymena were training, and they were to play Coleraine on Boxing Day. So I went in and trained, and then I went and watched the Coleraine game on Boxing Day. And Glenn came to me and was like, after it, a couple of days after it, said, I suppose all managers say, like, here, look, we're having a pile of money, but we'd like you to sign for whatever. So I signed just on like an amateur form kind of thing, and trained with the first team, played a good few reserve games, and then just by, I suppose, being there on a regular basis and training consistently, I then got a couple of call-ups into the first team.
Yeah. So you got your debut against Coleraine, is that right?
Yeah.
And I think it was up against your big mate, Howard Beverin, isn't it?
I was playing against Howard, and then another fellow who would have been an institute, big, tall fellow, David Ogilvie, was there at the time as well. So, yeah, I was playing against those lads.
Yeah, happy days. Turns out there, basically, I was looking at it today just before I gave you this call, but Glenn Ferguson, Mark showed in the space of 10 or 12 minutes how an Irish League centre forward should play, back to goal, bringing people in, big, strong and aggressive. If you read that, you're probably thinking, Quid's in here, he loves me. When you got the move yourself, I was like, fuck, this is a really good one for him, because obviously Spike has got his reputation as centre forward. He's going to help you. How did you find working with him?
He was brilliant. He actually used to train the odd night, say if someone was on the treatment, like in getting treatment or something like that. He would do the odd session, or say there was a match at the end, and he would go in and play up front, like in the team with me or on the opposition team, and he was phenomenal. I was kind of half worried going, this boy could put himself on the bench for Saturday and no one would bat an eyelid out. But in terms of like a manager, that Korean game, he actually, whenever we were 2-0 down and we came back and drew 2 each, and I came on the last, I think, 10 or 15 minutes, but he actually said that when we were in the change room after the game, which obviously hearing it from any manager, but hearing it from probably the best ever striker, it did a lot from a confidence, because for about 5 or 6 weeks you were going to train every Tuesday and Thursday night, and you're playing the reserve team and scoring the odd goal or whatever. I get the chart here. But when he said that, it was brilliant, and then that sort of gave me a lot of confidence then towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Do you think, did he help your game, like so the back to goal stuff and things like that? There, he pushed you on a bit with that.
I think he did. Just it's funny, like just wee things, where you're maybe dropping in to try and take a throw in or something like that, and he quite often he'd come over to me and he wouldn't make what I liked about him was he never really called people out and tried to make a show of people, but he was always trying to help you. So after the game, after this training game, he would have come to me. I remember he did it a couple of times, and he would say, once you're in there for sort of 2 or 3 seconds, you're not, well, if you do get it, you're going to get hammered, so when you go in to that space, count 1, 2, and if you haven't got the ball at your feet, then just get out of there, because if you wait there to get it and you get it, you're going to get hammered.
You're in trouble.
And so it was just wee things like that, and I picked a few things off him, but he was brilliant. I wasn't happy with how the season finished now, but it was he was class. I was brilliant.
Yeah. So in terms of, you touched on a wee bit, got to get on the semi-final Irish Cup. You got yourself on the score sheet. Flat buzzing.
It was unbelievable. I was actually in the squad for the quarterfinal against 𝗠𝗥𝗞 𝗞𝗘𝗟𝗟𝗬, which I was, absolutely delighted about. That whole buzz of going and into the stadium and all that, and being part of it. Like some of the players at Ballymena at the time were quality. Like so, being involved in it was brilliant. And then I got a few minutes in the quarterfinal, and then when I got the text the night before the semi-final. And going over to the Oval, and I wasn't actually sure if it was just bringing my boots and maybe number 17, squad number 17 sort of. But when I was named on the bench, I remember texting Kieran and Hannigan and that, and saying, lads, I'm actually on the bench here, so if you want to come up, I might be getting on for the last couple of minutes of the game, but don't feel you have to come up, sort of thing. And then to get on and score was unbelievable.
Yeah, class. Like, no, I remember seeing it on TV, and I was like, I'm buzzing for you. It was against Queens, wasn't it?
It was against Queens. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We got a favourable draw that year when you consider all those. Well, in saying that, I know Ballymena beat. I think it was February time they put Linfield out at Windsor earlier on, and Jenkins and who was it? Crishley scored. So at the beginning of the Irish Cup, they had a fairly tough draw, but at the end, I mean, if you're getting Dungannon at home and then Queens in a semi-final, you'd be happy enough.
You got the fancy. Because I remember we played Queens the week before. You were playing them in the Irish Cup, and your whole management mob, Joe McCall, Glenn, everybody was down watching.
All right.
And I was going to whoever I was playing beside, I was like, here, they're down watching you, better play well today. He's like, serious? You stupid bastard. But I know they were all down watching just to see probably just a wee glimpse of Queens, but you're always going to be too strong. In terms of, you touched already, your man Alan Jenkins, what was he like as a captain to play with?
He was, Jenks was unbelievable. Like, I was only there for that sort of 5 or 6 months, but looking back on it, maybe didn't appreciate it at the time, but looking back on it, he was like, and he wasn't there. He only came over on Saturdays from Scotland, but he's probably everything you would want with regards to a captain. In terms of how he sets really, really high standards, but I was probably a nobody really in that squad in comparison to all the quality he had there. But he took, when I got into the squad those couple of times, and when I scored a couple of goals, he was really he really took his time with you. It wasn't just a case of well done or whatever. He would talk to you, and he would give you, again, similar kind of thing to Spike. He would give you wee tips, and when he had the ball you out, he would do that as well. But all within reason. But he was phenomenal player.
A lot of people talk highly of him. You can see when he was playing just the class of where he's been at. Yeah. Really took him through the games, didn't it? But you also, the other one, you had Kush then you were saying playing. Yeah. Ridiculous.
What a player. Really a really hard trainer. Before I had played against Kush a couple of times in school games and that. But at Ballymena, when he trained, when I was there, he had quite a lot of injuries. But when he trained, he was as fit as any of the ones in the panel, but some of the things he could do, scoring goals from 40 yards, and
it's scary.
People, he's scoring goals from 40 yards. He kind of reminds me in a way of big Michael McLeod. Yeah. In terms of can literally pull a goal out of nothing. Mm-hmm. That bit of magic. Cushley and McLeod would have that goal out of nothing, 40 yards, top corner, and you're not that surprised when they do it, because they do it on a regular basis in training.
Yeah, 100%. Dan, terms for, how did you find, in terms of Ballymena, you would change room in students, and it was a bit different in terms of, you said it was quite full time. What was the change room like in Ballymena? It was quite up and down results wise for you, wasn't it?
It was. I was only there sort of for that 5 month period, so I was there January, February. Most of February and all of January I would have been with the reserve. So I was there from the end of February, March, April, and once there was a wee bit of momentum in the cup run, there was good. There was a good atmosphere about the place. Lee, Doc, and Norman Kelly were in, and they were brilliant. Training sessions and all were quality. But with regards to dressing room, you had some really good characters there. You had Gavin Taggart.
Yeah.
Cracking player, but very, very funny. I'm trying to think who else. Mark Surgeoner.
Yeah.
Who's a funny lad, but he's a top pro class player. I remember when I first saw Sergi playing, it would have been, he was in the universities team, but he was at Ballymoney and he was playing as a centre forward. And then I saw him at Ballymena. He was centre mid, and then he was, I suppose, a wee bit of Ballymena and a lot of his career at Carrick, centre half. And he's equally as good in all positions.
Yeah, 100%.
But there was good. It was good out crack in the change room. I wasn't really that involved in it, just coming in and not really knowing a pile of people, but you had Jim Irvin in there and Davy Munster, Johnny Taylor. There was a lot of Cushley, Gavin Taggart, Mark Surgeoner. There was a lot of I'm trying to think if I'm missing anyone there. Steaky McBride, he was quality. Darren Henderson, Jenkins. I don't want to miss anyone out. But there was a lot of good players, but there was good crack too. They were all good lads.
Cha was there at the same time as you, wasn't he?
Cha was there as well, yeah. It was nice having Cha there. Cha was one of the ones, him and Sergi and a couple others were some of the ones I knew going in, but Cha was a class player. I remember in school, Cha played similar to myself. He would have been in and out of the panel quite a bit. First team squad, quite a bit. And then on the morning of the Irish Cup, I remember Glenn announcing the team and then the squad and saying that, I remember singled both of us out and saying we were both very unlucky to miss out. So Cha was brilliant. Great lad too.
He's class. He's a funny character. See, we were at uni that you get tortured.
He was wasn't he?
Sterling.
Sterling, yeah. He
turned up the matches with no boots or forgetting boots. Fucking hell, mate, you get tortured.
He's quite forgetful, isn't he, like that?
Yeah, he's he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think there's one of the times we played away somewhere, and going on the bus to the match, all got out on the way home. Chad left the bus or the boots and all just sitting at the side of the bus and drove off. I was like, oh fuck, he's thick. He just got tortured in our uni. Like he's thick as fuck. But what a player!
Aye, fast.
Yeah, fit as anything. He got moved in our uni. He got moved to Alaba. Played under Paul Hartley and stuff like that. Division 2 in Scotland, quality. But yeah, he's very, very good. Terms for yourself then, Mark, as well. But you touched a wee bit on the final, the Irish Cup. Then did Glenn say much more other than unlucky, or
no? He didn't. He said it was a close one between me and a couple of other players, but. What I didn't, the only thing that I couldn't really get my head around with the final selection was there were no strikers sort of on the bench, So it was he put one, I think it was a defender and 4 midfielders sort of thing, but it was disappointing. I just had it. You kind of have a feeling, if you score in the semi-final and you're maybe on the bench in the final, you could come on and maybe nick one, get an out fluky one, but. I was devastated. I was absolutely got it,
Yeah, no, I'm sure you were, man. Cause like even just thinking, you score in the semi-final, you're in the squad, and that was my thinking. Like it's surely you're a free one in.
And even as well, like so the last league game was the week before the Irish Cup final. So the last league game was at home to Ards, and there was 17 of us, maybe 18 of us that he kept out. No one played.
Yeah.
Wasn't even on the bench. So we all, before that game was on, we all went and trained. And I thought, I'm frigging, and I was counting, like I was told it was Boise and myself and McLeod, Big Mike, and I was going, so it's between me and Michael. That had sort of been the way it was. It was either myself or Michael was going to be, was sort of the backup on the bench. And I thought, frig, I might sneak on here, like, and none of us were on it. So it was a hard one to take, but I don't know.
Disappointing. But move on a wee bit, mate, from it. So you then took your time out again, a bit more studies, go across to Liverpool. You then played a wee bit of football over there. I'm sure you're scoring goals for Merseyside Harps. Like
I was over there. I 3 years I was over there. That was deadly. It was great. It was like, I suppose it kind of was pub league. We were sponsored by one of the local Irish pubs. You played it sort of earlier, maybe 11 or 12, and then you're done. You're done. You were coming in from the game back to the pub that were sponsoring us, that put on food and things like that. But you're coming in, you were getting the tail end of the 12:30 game, and you've still the whole day ahead of you, sort of thing. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. We only trained once a week, sort of 5-a-side or 8, Astro 8-a-side or whatever. How many people were there? Sometimes there's only 8 or 9 at training. Other nights there was 20. But it was good crack, and we won a trophy and made a load of really good mates out of it, and that was a good experience.
Did that then just give you a wee bit better of a taste of football, and just to get the enjoyment back after disappointment of Ballymena towards the end of it? Excuse me.
I suppose. I mean, I always wanted to play when I was coming back. Even when I had that season with Ballymena had finished, I had spoke to Glenn, and he properly had offered me a contract, which it would definitely have signed. It wasn't because I didn't play in an Irish Cup final that I didn't sign it. I was kind of weighing it up, and I thought, I need to get this teaching degree. I've been accepted over in Liverpool, so I can do that now. I can study for a year and then come back next year. I ended up staying 3 years, but after 3 years in Liverpool, and I knew I was coming home, I was looking forward to getting back and playing. I love the whole thing about round home and playing locally, and all the, you get to follow all the Irish League and the Championship and Championship 2 and all that. So I missed that. So I was looking forward to getting back in and playing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the door opened at Ballyclare then.
Yeah. So came back. I'd spoke to Michael. Is it David McAlinden at Carrick? He was there.
Yeah.
So I spoke to him, but I was coming back, and obviously I'd missed quite a bit of the Gaelic, so I wanted to play the Gaelic as well. So I sort of said to him that I wanted to focus on the Gaelic and play a bit of football. So, and Ballyclare were willing to do that, and he was 100%. To be fair, he said that's no problem. And yeah, same with Ballyclare. A load of my mates were already at Ballyclare. You know, you've Studsie and JB, Adam Gray, Gaz Brown, Paddy Flood. There was loads of people, you know. So it kind of felt like Ballyclare was a good move for me, you know, and it's kind of a local club too. So
it's handy. Yeah. So in terms of the move, then Cliffy had you flying from the start of up to Christmas. Really, you're top of the league, weren't you?
I think we were there.
Close to it, anyway.
We were there and thereabouts. I can't remember exactly, but I know we were in the running. Seriously, in the running.
Yeah.
Had a really good team. And some cracking players at Ballyclare. And Institute were always going to be there. Institute were really strong. And Paddy McLaughlin's he's phenomenal manager. And then Newry were creeping. Portadown, who we thought were going to be the sort of front runners, were, I think, maybe finished sixth. We played them 6 times and beat them 5 of the 6. So
I was just going to say, I remember you always had their number, didn't you?
Aye, yeah, it was kind of like a regular thing. And then the last game they beat us was obviously the last time we played them that season. But I think we were sort of out of the running of the promotion hunt, and we'd kind of lost our way a wee bit. But that team was going really well up to I think it was the last weekend in January, and Adam Gray got suspended. He got sent off against Lurgan Celtic, and God, it was a harsh sending off on him. But he ended up getting. I don't think he kept his mouth shut when he was going off the pitch. And it was, to be fair, it wasn't really anything bad, but it went in the report anyway. And I think he got 9 games all in. So he was a massive player for us that year. You know what he's like. Like he tortured teams. And so we were missing him, and then Sturdy Nixon, who another class player. He sort of left the squad. I don't know if it was February, March time, which he was a massive player for us. Giggsy from Larne was there up until he was there only to maybe November, December time. But yeah, we lost a lot of our firepower and we sort of just stuttered then towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I've had a few of the Ballyclare boys on, and that they always speak highly of their fans and stuff they got there. They said took well to you as well, didn't they?
They were Ballyclare fans were class, like, so there was, like, I'm just thinking of the ones that I would know and would keep a wee bit would chat to the odd times. You've Justy Wallace and Kelso Ritchie and Jackie Murdoch and I'm trying to think now. It'll come to me, but there's a few other, even the chairman and that, like, some really. I mean, people say it about a lot of clubs, but there were a lot of really good people around Ballyclare, you know, and straight away I felt at home.
Yeah.
Big Wayne Lewis, that's who I'm thinking of. Straight away I felt at home, and to be honest, like, because I was playing with a load of mates and stuff like that as well, but I didn't really. I was thinking it was home and was playing away, and I thought, this is me now. Like, I can stay here for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years and enjoy myself. And I genuinely thought we were going to get up that year, you know, and thought, wouldn't it be class to go up to the Premiership with Ballyclare and just have a crack at it, you know, because I don't think they've been in the Premiership in a long time, but with regards to the fans and the people around the club, and it was brilliant, really good season.
Grant. So do you think it was just injury really then that stumped the season, do you think? Or losing the forward?
I think, yeah, it was probably a mixture, a combination of a few things, like, and with those things you need luck too, you know. But it's hard to put your finger on exactly what it was, but it was an opportunity missed. I've spoke to like Studsie and Adam JB and Gaz and that about it since, and Big Jonty and that, and I've said like we were so close.
Yeah.
You know, because we weren't far off. I think one of the games beat Institute 6-1, and then Drew had difficulty with Newry now, but there wasn't a pile in it, you know, that sort of way.
Yeah.
So it was a hard one to take, but it was still a really good year. You know, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it was just the season you stayed, wasn't it? Next season you went to Yards.
Yeah.
So how did the Yards move come about then?
So the end of that season, James E. Kirk had just come in, and again, like I had no intention of leaving. And Colin Nixon rang me. I actually thought it was one of the lads pranking me, trying to wind me up. So Colin Nixon rang me and was like, "What's it, Park Avenue? I think it's Park Avenue over in East Belfast." He was like, "I want to meet you, or if you're free for a cup of coffee, do you want to meet over in the Park Avenue?" And I was going, that's no worries, that's grand, you know, what day or whatever. And then I told James Kirk, I was like, "James, Colin Nixon's been on to me there." James and Stevie were in. And I said, I want to go over and meet him. And I remember always run everything by Jack and Kieran, the two brothers. And I remember saying, "Lads, I don't think I'm not going to go, but I want to go and just listen, and, you know, just to see." And I sat down with him, and I suppose like any manager, whenever they're trying to sign you, he well, not every manager, but a lot of managers, he really sold it to me, and he talked about his plans for the team and where he maybe saw me playing, and that was a really good opportunity, you know, and to sign with a Premiership team and you know, do it, I suppose, really try and do it properly. So once I met with him, I came out again, I rang Jack, rang Kieran, and said to them, "Lads, it sounds really good," you know. And of course, Kieran was saying, but think about Ballyclare and how much you really enjoyed it and all. And that was massively playing on my mind. But I was just thinking, like, I was 28 at the time, and I thought, I'm probably not going to get another opportunity to have a crack at playing against the Cliftonvilles and Linfields and Crusaders, you know, all that there. So I just had a couple of days to think about it, and I went back down and met him and signed. It was brilliant.
Plus two, then, when you're going in with Yards this time, you're a bit more wiser, a bit more experienced to the league after your 6 months at Ballyclare or with Ballymena, so you're ready to go for it. Like, it started off strong then, scoring the debut. Yeah,
so I actually signed, and I was away. I missed a good crack of pre-season. I was away over in Colorado, over at Daniela's house, and I played an indoor game, and I absolutely wrecked my ankle. I couldn't walk for about 2 weeks, so I thought I was going to get the arse eaten off me by Nixon. So I rang him and explained to him. He was grand about it. He probably thought, "You're not starting anyway in the first game of the season." So he was 100%. He said, "You know, don't be worrying about it. Enjoy your holiday, and we'll get a look at it when you're back." And I can't speak highly enough of Nixon. He was unbelievable. He was really brilliant, but came back and missed the first 2 games with the ankle. Couldn't hardly train. Was doing wee bits, and then Sean Noble tore his ACL or something on the second game at home to the Glens. And then the next night of training, Nixon said, "I'm going to start you on Saturday against." So hadn't made an appearance, hadn't even come on, and he said, "I'm going to start you against Ballymena." And my ankle was throbbing, and I played, scored a fluke.
I was going to say, you can't claim that. I watched it today.
A million percent claiming it. Yeah, I was actually that night. Some of the lads were sort of showing me it and going, "You completely," like, they were slowing it up, going, "Look, you fluffed this here." And I was trying to argue my corner. I was going, "No, I knew it was coming." Like, I was trying to say, I knew it was coming, but it was a complete fluke. But even with that, it was massive. It was massive for the confidence, you know. We ended up losing. Ballymena scored 2 late goals, but I remember after the game, and David Jeffrey said to me, "Well done," and that I played well. So that I took a lot of confidence from that goal, and from a few compliments after the game, and then I scored again the following week against Newry, which was massive. Just confidence-wise was really good. You're kind of questioning yourself, going, I wonder, can I play at this level, or is it way above me? But when you score 2 in your first 2 games, it gets a lot of
not pressure as much.
Yeah, big time.
Big time. But then you're with the Irish team, though. You were doing well under. It's not like you. I know what happened at the end. It did sort of run out, but you were always close to the big 2 and big 4, whatever league. You didn't really get much stuffings by them.
I don't think we took any hammerings, to be honest. Like we drew away at Windsor, we drew at home to Coleraine, we drew, we beat Newry. Like we had some really, really strong results where we beat by a goal here and there. But it was, as Nicky said, like it was the teams around us that were killing us. Yeah. We weren't taking up enough points. One of the games we were beating Dungannon at home, and we were cruising and we got a man sent off. We were comfortable in that game. We got a man sent off, but it finished 2-2. But I put a lot of the season down to there's a lot of bad luck with regards to injuries. So Johnny Taylor, who's a cracking player, and David Ellibert, who's the other centre half. He was another brilliant player. But those 2 lads, if you looked at our sort of, not all of them, but a lot of our better results, those 2 were at the centre of them. And the 2 fellas who came in, like Callum Byers, cracking player, and Adam McAleenan, cracking player, but I think we were both like 18 and maybe 17 and 20 or 17 and 21. So you're coming up against a Joe Gormley or a Waterworth or a Owen Bradley or Jordan Owens. You're going to have your hands full. So we lost those boys for long periods of the season, which I think made a massive difference. And as well, and we didn't score enough goals.
Yeah. It always is the way, isn't it, with the teams in the bottom half? The Irish League, it's trying to get goals.
Yeah, and it's hard. They're hard to come by. Like,
definitely. But you did get 2. You gave Josh Robinson, wasn't it, Linfield, the run around that season? Scored 2 against them.
Do you know what? That was. I still don't know how it happened, to be honest. Like, I would love to sit here and be like, oh, here and it's no bother at all. Like, if he wants to play a game, sort of thing. Like, but you see, after that game, I remember Keith Bailey and there was a couple of other lads, and they came over and they had their wee microphones and whatever, and I was just like, lads, and they were like, how does that, what's it? It described us what this is like and all. And I was like, just before I say anything else, like, this is never going to happen ever again. Like, this is a complete fluke. And he was like, I'm not going to put that bit in, but tell us what it's like. But it was surreal. I remember that morning, my mate got married. One of my best mates from Aidan Kearney got married a couple of days before it, and I actually missed the training on the Thursday night. And I missed the training on the Thursday night, and Danielle's younger sister was over visiting, and she was saying, oh, we'll come along, watch your match. And I remember driving in the car going, this is the worst possible weekend you could have come. We're going to get humped here 4 or 5. And I was being like, I was serious, because Linfield they weren't beaten yet that season. And then obviously that happened. 2 goals against them. Like, it was just, it was unbelievable. Like,
that was class. Was it the second one where you, from the outs, you're basically at the edge of the 18-yard box? You cut by your man and bury it. Great finish.
That again, like, I still can't. I still don't know how it happened. Like, people are going, you did well there. And I was going, I don't know what it is. I just kept running, put the head down. And it was like one of those things where you're in a maze and a door opens, you just shit through it. Like, I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, you look like it on the TV anyway. But in terms of, see, when you sort of got into that game and that, obviously you already drew with Linfield and you got results of Coleraine and that. Did you have a belief that you could scalp one of these big teams?
That 100%. I had, like, that was one thing that Nicky was brilliant with. He was always of the belief, and he always, like, right up until he left in the February, he was brilliant that way. Like, he was always praising the players, and he was always sort of saying to us, there's no reason why we drew with them 5 weeks ago at their place. there's no reason why we can't sit tight and pick our moments when to get at them, and we did it. You know, it worked really well. But he was of that mindset all the time. You know,
suppose because as a player, he was used to winning. You know, so that'll rub off to him as a manager. He's not going to be, we'll sit here and we'll try and pick a point or pick that. He accepts where he knew how to win.
Yeah,
and
I didn't
realize, you know, that way.
I didn't realize how much he had won.
Yeah,
fucking hell, boy.
It's mad. But the first one I done this, I spoke to Tim McCann, and he was talking just about the things he won. I was like, right, okay, geez, these guys win everything.
Phenomenal, like it's phenomenal with those boys. Those lads, like those players that are at Linfield, the top players at like Linfield and Crusaders and I suppose Cliftonville previously, those lads who are just at that level every single week, like with targets on their backs, you know, and they're winning every week and they're winning trophies every season or every other season. Like those boys are serious players, like, and they've serious mentalities to maintain that, you know.
Yeah, big time. In terms of, then you touched on already, Nixon left. And then Warren Feeney came in.
Yeah. What are you saying? Sorry.
No, just saying that he came in taking over. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Warren came in, and it actually worked well for me in a sense that I hadn't, when Feeney or when Nixon left, I don't think I had started say six or seven games. And then, you know, when a new manager comes in, it sort of it is a new slate, and everyone's sort of back to square. Most people are sort of back to square one. So, with Feeney coming in, he was brilliant, and you could see obviously that he had been at all those clubs previously and had all that experience with Northern Ireland and with Leeds and Luton, and he was, I'm trying to think of, was he at Swansea maybe?
Cardiff.
But yeah, he was quality, really, really good. Yeah.
In terms of, and obviously Spike had helped you a bit. What was he like with coaching ways and stuff for you? Because I'm sure he had a lot to give.
Yeah, he was brilliant, and he when he came in, he sort of spoke to myself and my big Michael McClown and Boise and a couple of other strikers, and he was saying, you know, that we don't have to necessarily play with one up. You know, we can play 4-4-2, and we can, as long as you're working hard enough off the ball. There's no reason why we can't play two up front. And but with regards to like helping my game or helping strikers' game, he was brilliant, and the training was 100 miles an hour, and everyone was set up and everything was ready to go. And there was always a stage in one of the two sessions each week, sometimes two, where we would take 4 or 5 strikers, attackers, and he would take you to the other end of the pitch, and he would have shooting drill set up, and within 20 minutes of a shooting drill, each player would get 50 shots off, and it was all, you know, from different angles and reaction, and so he was all about that repetition. So that was something that I didn't really do before that, but doing it under Fino was deadly, really, really good, good experience. Like,
I was doing the search today, just writing down a few things out, but he seemed to really rate you too. And there was a cracking picture after the Newry game. He's smacking one right in your cheek, big kiss.
Well, I think I don't know if I would say he really rated me now, but I know the first game that he was in charge, me and Mike started up front, and I scored 2 against Newry. And then in the next game, I played I think it was away to Glentoran, and we got a man sent off early, and I played up front on my own, and we drew 1 each, and he sort of praised me after that and said, you know, he said to me that if I could maintain that and can play like that on a regular basis, that I could make a good career out of staying in the Irish League. So yeah, I suppose he did rate me highly, and then at the end of that season, he asked me to stay on too.
So they had, obviously, the end of the season, unfortunately, they did go down, but they knew you had a short spell yourself at Carrick for a bit, and then we'll just move to your current club, Newry itself, really. In terms for Newry at the minute, then, aspirations to well, probably be next season, but try and get back up? Or
Oh yeah, definitely. That would be the plan. So signing, was it? Yeah, it would have been just after the season last year. When ours went down, I spoke to Darren Moan at Newry.
Yeah.
And he had asked me. He had asked me about signing. And at the same time, I was talking to Carrick. Ended up signing with Carrick. And was there. I think I was there a couple of months. And left for one reason or the other. But then a couple of months after that, I think it was November time, Darren got on the phone and chatted to him. And part of me had kind of thought, having turned Newry down previously, that opportunity had maybe gone, but getting the sign and then in January and playing, obviously a bit rusty, having not played for a wee months, but having got the sign, it's really, really good. It's a really, really good club, and hopefully if I'm, which I think I will be there next season. Hopefully we can make a good crack at the promotion chase.
They are massive, aren't they? Like, in terms of club wise.
Yeah, really, really, a lot bigger than I mean. I always knew they were a big club, but whenever they sort of folded and we're out of it for a wee years, but coming back, like even at Ballyclare, when coming down and playing the showgrounds, like big stadium, good pitch, really, really great facilities, and very similar to Ballyclare in that there's a lot of really, really good people around the club, who really have the club at the forefront of their ambitions, sort of thing, So cannot speak highly enough of
just the COVID virus and stuff coming in. It knocked the stuff out of you a good bit, because you were flying, weren't you? I think we were from February. You have to beat or something. We were beat the second last week before COVID came, but from the was it Boxing Day maybe? I think it was unbeaten from Boxing Day. So they made a really big. No, maybe it was before Boxing Day, because they drew with Ballyclare on Boxing Day. But made a big push and obviously signed 𝗠𝗥𝗞 𝗟𝗟𝗬. Yourself.
And myself, made a big push. Thanks for saying that there. Made a big push for the team, and the quality in that squad as it is. Like, a lot of those boys were still there last year when they were in the Premiership, and they've added big Adam Foley from Dublin, who's serious footballer. Like, so hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be a charge at it next year.
Yeah. Just things, Mark, as well. Just terms on the Irish League side of things, and even the Championship. Just a few questions I just like to ask. See, terms for players, is there anybody that you look forward to actually playing against?
Do you mean, and just to to go and test yourself, sort of thing?
Both ways. So test yourself, and then one going, I've got him on the ropes here.
And I don't want to say I don't actually think I have anyone on the ropes, but I wouldn't want to say it in case
it comes wrong.
I wasn't here now in one of the first games back, but I enjoy, you really look forward to those games, like going and playing against like Jimmy Gallagher and Josh Robinson and your man Aaron Canning and Stevie O'Donnell at Korean. Like, those two, I think they're probably two of the. I mean, they're all quality in that league.
Yeah.
And even in the Championship, there's so many quality centre halves. But I would say you look forward to playing against those big teams, where there's maybe a bit of a stadium or a bit of a crowd, and if you do get one over of them on them, that they're it's sort of more magnified kind of thing,
I'm sure in terms of battles and stuff, you with the way you play, in terms of some of the centre halves, they probably take it for granted a wee bit, but you batter them about as well. Like Colin Colts and that, I'm sure they don't get an easy touch. You see them going through people and that there, like you're strong enough lad to sort of throw it about a bit.
You kind of have to, if you're not, I wouldn't be the quickest or sharpest or most technically gifted, so you kind of have to use what you have, sort of thing, and I think of someone like Big Skinner at Korean, he's good he's a lot better than probably people give him credit for technically, but he's savage. Like he takes the hand out of a lot of those boys. Like he really, really does. And they try and kick him, and he gives it back twice as hard, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, I think he has most people beat mentally as well, doesn't he?
Probably does. I probably does.
He seems a bit of a wind-up merchant as well as having the talent with it. So he does. But Marco, I'm going to cut it there, but that's everything there for us. So thank you very much for going through that with me.
No bother.